to just have KT on blue and a first pick here for the bros. I am pretty sure if I read that right.
Yeah, which is a bit interesting because both games so far have been won by first pick. Obviously, kind of pick a lot of value, so maybe looking for perfect to get the advantage in that top lane matchup rather than be in a position like he was in this game, where he was just kind of answering. I mean, he did technically kind of pick the Rumble, but maybe an opportunity to get a more active kind of pick in this one.
Yep. All right, Pantheon once again going to be the ban. Bans for the bros last time was Pantheon, Ezreal, and Galio. And Cassio, Caitlyn, and Orianna were the bans for KT.
Yeah, I think the bot lane, we've seen a lot of strong duos taken out. As you said before, Caitlyn Bard, Ezreal Karma.
Yep.
I think are things on the mind right now in terms of power. Jayce often crops up at this point. There is the Yorick available to match into it, but often can have a good amount of priority. And we see the Annie ban coming out.
That is an odd one. I know he's a former TSM jungler, but it's also an odd ban.
Yeah, so
Orianna also going to be taken away.
Sometimes see Annie being pretty good into Ahri, but obviously that's already been taken away.
Has been an answer to the Rise as well, but that's also already been taken away. And we've seen it played into Anivia, but that's been taken away.
Yeah.
Just wanting to deny the Rise group special, perhaps?
Maybe. Denying the Annie Wukong. We'll see what they set up for.
Armor.
Are they going to ban away the Ezreal or the Caitlyn? Either of those? They're going to leave them both open.
Might be just the trade, as the Lee Sin is going to be the final ban here.
I think it's smarter to leave them both open and available, so...
just Bard, and then just take whatever they don't pick. Might be the option.
Yeah, could be an option here. Works well with both of them.
But it might be... Oh, never mind. Ezreal, just a little bit too high priority. But you do run into the potential Caitlyn Bard, and then you run out of great picks alongside the Ezreal outside of the Seraphine that we have seen find a lot of success.
Yeah, I think...
in fact, Jiwoo and Effort that played that one very well.
I think Ezreal Seraphine would be okay. You could also maybe look for Camille again if you want to kind of deny the prospect of the Bard, since Camille does very good there. Although typically KT have been banning Camille more than picking it, so I don't necessarily expect them to go for that. We'll see what they opt for. I think Caitlyn is on the forefront of the mind.
Yeah.
Will they take that now? They will take the Bard at least.
That, like you say, somewhat dangerous with Namgung's propensity to play the Camille.
You could also just take Corki. Corki kind of pairs with whatever comfortably. Yeah. I think, you know, Corki's fine. Caitlyn's pretty good. I think the one thing you're really worried about is if they go Jhin.
I am very worried about that, Aux. You're exactly right. That being said, I'm not as worried right now because it doesn't matter which team wins in this game as long as we make it to 5 games. So KT threw this one away. It's kind of all right. As the Wukong, going to be a consideration here for Cuzz, despite the lack of Annie.
So I feel like we've seen Lissandra work pretty well as like a substitute for Annie. So potentially could look in towards that. I was also thinking maybe the Annie, they were denying it because they were like Annie Lee Sin would be really strong in case they get the Lee Sin, but then KT banned it themselves. All right. For bro, what are we picking? Do we want to just match jungle here? Would you go something like a Skarner maybe?
Elise.
Grab the Elise for Namgung. So as you said before, a lot of teams have been going Ezreal, Seraphine. This feels like a much more aggressive option. The Cocoon is going to be very easy to hit on the Bard's rotund hitbox.
Oh no, not the rotund Bard again.
There we go.
Well, I thought we fearlessly banned the Nautilus. He was going to be okay. Xin Zhao going to be the choice, though, into the Wukong here for Gideon, a champion that he has found a fair bit of success on in the past. Doesn't have an enchanter support to pair alongside him, but I think still should be very strong here in this game.
So are you going to secure a mid for BDD here? Or are you just going to get the Caitlyn? I feel like pairing up the bot lane is the more important thing here. So they're going to get the Caitlyn. Even though you have other options, I think you would quickly feel bad about getting trimmed away. Actually, they changed their mind.
So I don't know about that. I'm a bit frightened about the Sivir.
A less aggressive option going for the Sivir. I mean, Sivir does well into Elise, into Ezreal.
Good point.
But does have that shorter range. And it can be a bit awkward to try and team fight as Sivir when you're into his Zhao. As if you end up getting in range of him to actually ricochet, you're in a dangerous position.
Well, now we're going to see the rest of these bans come in. No lock for Roma. he has found a lot of success on. A lot of pick potential already here for the bros. I think the Jayce stocks are extremely high. And so we'll see whether that does get banned away or whether they're going to look at something else. Because already with this K'Sante being banned away, the bros might have their eyes on the Jayce. But first pick out of this ban phase does go to KT. All right, one more ban. KT to throw around, and that is another mid lane ban. There are so many mid laners taken away here.
Yeah, trying to trim away these more aggressive melee divers. Roma having a lot of success previously on the Akali, and also did get that pentakill with the lock.
Yeah. Or I'd say Namgung gave him a pentakill.
Delivered it to him.
Yeah. The 0-8 power spike. Just a beautiful time to be alive. One more ban. The Victor is going to be taken away here. So, Jayce, I guess, for KT. Does casting just want to play Yorick into it, and that's why they're very happy leaving it up?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit risky in that regard. I feel like maybe just take mid here, and then if Bro pick Jayce, you pick Yorick. If they don't pick Jayce, you pick Jayce.
Yeah.
Kind of works out well in that regard. I feel like something like an Aurora or... Oh, Zoe's been threatened.
Okay,
He'd even bring it out. He's so insanely
rate.
good in this pick. He's so good on this pick. And it looks like Bro will just grab the Jayce here. You know, you're into a pick that has a lot of poke in terms of the Zoe. Wanting to match some of that range.
And what is the pick into the Zoe? That's the big question. As it looks like Jayce is going to be the first cab off the rank, but I imagine they're using a lot of this time to work out what the pick into the Zoe is going to be. Could it be that Lissandra that you were talking about?
I think it could make sense. I think you could also go for something like the Aurora. I think those are the ones that come to mind first and foremost.
Echo would be crazy, man.
That would be insane. And they were banning these like dive melee threats away.
Honestly, wouldn't Echo be absolutely sick with his parallel convergence or whatever it is to get the stun if like the portal jump comes out and you get it down at exactly the right time?
Oh man, we just
it's
got
LeBlanc
with a ton of cool picks. But LeBlanc, one of those OG options to take in a Zoe, can actually make her pay. And KT closed the trap with the Jayce, the Yorick into the Jayce. So casting gonna have his work cut out for him in this matchup. But similarly, BD gonna have his work cut out for him, trying to survive against Roma on the LeBlanc. I feel like lanes are gonna be so contentious. There's so much kill pressure in this game. I feel like early on, we had previous games were quite slow. It was only the roams of BDD that really set things up.
Yep.
Both mid laners have a lot of opportunity to roam and really sway the side lane matchups.
This is going to be a very interesting one, though, because Zoe feels a little off theme to me in this draft for KT. I feel like Perfect wants to be in a side lane, but Zoe wants to be sort of messing around with the enemy team, and it feels like a Wukong doesn't necessarily fit that. You want to just go for engages, get your Cyclone out, and really make an impact, and it can be a little bit difficult to make it work. I'd imagine that picking the Zoe when you have the Ezreal makes a lot of sense as well, because Sivir wants to be continuously autoing and getting those ricochets across. We'll just have to see, though, because BDD is an absolute master on this champion and team fighting on this champion as well, which can be so incredibly difficult. Zoe is just a very, very hard champion to have your damage actually land in the chaos of a team fight, and BDD has made a career on doing that. He is just so good at this champion. We'll see whether the bros can manage to keep him at bay with their pick and poke composition that they put together for themselves. And fun comps, let's get on with the rip. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3, and we're guaranteed at least 4. I know we're guaranteed 5, actually, but right now, it's definitely 4 games. And already, we're seeing BDD Zoe on the Rift, right? We've got, like, slightly weird compositions. Namgung's Elise comes out. This is why Fearless is so good. Because we really get treated to some interesting choices.
And, you know, we got some buffs to LeBlanc only a few patches ago that was to her ult damage. So the Mimic, Sigil, Distortion, and Ethereal Chains all got their late game damage improved. And I feel like, they're going in.
Another great Cocoon connects onto Jiwoo here as Teddy is just stacking up is passive.
Delete.
Oh my god, we are flashing for a red buff. That's what I'm talking about, Gideon.
This is the sort of creative pattern you love to see in Game 3 of a best of 5.
I mean, it's almost as cool as just straight up flashing out of the fountain, which is my favorite one. Really give you a head start getting out onto the map.
And honestly, they could actually realistically dive this. With how chunked out Jiwoo and Effort are, Elise is so good at setting up the dives. This is actually a cause for concern. This is why they're trading so heavily.
And they think that they're safe as the barrier comes out from Teddy, but Jiwoo is also looking worse for wear. Namgung, he does so much damage on this early game Elise.
Jiwoo's so low, Namgung can just literally auto him.
Oh, the flash cocoon gets the flash.
He's so dead. He is just dead. Yep. There is no way out of this. Cuzz is trying to move over. Gideon's trying to get level 3 in time.
Let's see what they can actually do here. The crash does finally come down. Jiwoo gets a bit of health back with that spell shield. And never mind, not dead.
Oh, Cuzz just it, comes down in time. And his presence saves them, because I was certain Jiwoo was just dead there. If they were able to pull that dive off, there was no way out. But he's able to live to fight another day.
All right, now that the action is over, we can have a look at some of our keystones and things like that. Nothing is really standing out as far as anything crazy. Double electrocutes for our supports on the bottom side is no surprise. No. Storm Raider's Surge, kind of interesting, I guess, for the Jayce. But not really.
Moving up to the top side to try and cover and defend these camps from Cuzz. Great read right now, because Gideon ends up at a big advantage if he gets to clear up his own camps and deny Cuzz from them. Now, Cuzz might move towards, I was going to say the bot lane, bot side scuttle, but instead he's going to go for maybe a push in here again. But the Raptor's already gone and he's down a level now. No red buff too.
All right, Effort now taking some damages. Namgung is kind of everywhere here this game. There's the repel.
Oh, he's out of range.
Yeah, he's not actually able to make it to the minion. As Namgung now just has to try and commit to the fight, and that's first blood over to BDD's Zoe of all people.
Oh, a big misplay, because he chunks out Effort, and that honestly could have been enough. You chunk out Effort, Gideon comes down, 3v3 with Effort low would be in your favor, but just a miscalculation on the repel, slightly out of range of the minion wave, means that he's got nowhere to go, no flash, and he ends up going down.
I was really expecting him just to come back down on like you could see the minion that he was going for, and just unfortunately not able to get there. And if we have a look at this one more time, I'm just wondering whether there was like a minion that he was looking for that was moving out of the way that he couldn't actually get to. No, you saw the one that he wanted.
It's because of the Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Aha!
The Trouble Bubble came out, and he's like, I just have to repel now. Am I in range? And the answer was no, so good pressure there from BDD.
Yeah, very nicely done. Still, Namgung is a man built on deaths. He's very happy to go 0-1 by 5 minutes. In fact, I would say that he could probably go 0-2 by now.
He's definitely set that sort of pace before.
Oh, yeah.
And Elise is that sort of champ that you will get a lot of kills in a lot of situations, but you can't just die on repeat.
Yeah, let's just say Itsy Bitsy Spider doesn't get up and down that water spout by staying alive the whole time. It's now Jiwoo taking a bit of damage here. Teddy trying to do what he can. It's a decent spell shield, but Gideon's coming down one more time. Wind becomes lightning, just barely avoided by the Sivir. And it's another recall to come through from Namgung.
The pressure's there, but they're not really finding the angle in. Gideon's trying to chase these finite windows where he can threaten Jiwoo, but a good job from Jiwoo and Effort to mitigate this, buy time until Cuzz can move over and avoid the pressure.
Yeah, Romer is doing a pretty good job here in this mid lane, staying ahead in farm by just a little bit, winning out on a few of these trades.
I will say one of the things I always found really frustrating about LeBlanc.
Oh man, he flashes to get the ethereal chains and finds the solo! Romer with the kill onto BDD to even out the series, and yes, pro fans, it is this crazy here in Game 3.
This is why you take the matchup. Romer with supreme confidence, flashes to keep in range off the tether and kills BDD on his signature Zoe. The confidence. And I remember all those time ago when Romer actually was pretty close to his debut, when Showmaker picked LeBlanc into his Orianna and killed him on repeat.
Oh yeah, he did.
Unceremoniously.
I was about to say, like, do we change his name to Rowmaker now?
Maybe.
Because that was Showmaker-esque. Cuzz gonna actually go in on this one, only level 5, and Namgung is gonna have to go up into the sky, does come back down, and now Romer is trying to find the angle. BDD not able to get enough damage onto this Elise to take him down. And KT, they will get control of this river. They're not able to get any kills.
The fact that Namgung just gets to walk out of that kind of crazy.
이거 미드도 그냥 찌르면 강하다. 계속
Oh,
나오는
we get a
거긴 해.
point of view replay.
이제
And he hit everything.
그렇다.
Yeah, the flash to keep up with the movement speed. Just so well played there.
And this was the bottom lane.
Yeah, one of the things I found so frustrating about LeBlanc is the amount of poke this champion can do and just not really being answerable. If a LeBlanc gets fed, you can just kind of like W over, QRE, W back, and if they're not dead, they might as well be.
Yep. GIDEON is also going to be able to find Cuzz here. 3 Talon Strike doesn't quite work, but True Shot Barrage is going to get this monkey out of the battle. And GIDEON, with level 6 already, there is no way that Cuzz was going to be able to contest this, especially with no flash available. They are really keeping this Wukong down.
I really like how GIDEON's approach to jungle this game, constantly looking to challenge Cuzz. We've seen the jungles be a bit less active in the early games so far this series, but GIDEON has tried to find these windows, tried to shut down Cuzz. And even though he hasn't found the bot gank windows, he's still been putting that pressure on.
Well, BDD going to have to walk his way out of this one. Sweep comes on through. And now I'm going over here as well, as they look to take down this ward. They will be able to get rid of it. BDD just biding his time, though.
If you set up control around mid lane for Roma, he will roam.
He will.
Yeah.
He will be more of a roamer than BDD, because BDD is a BDD.
Yeah, and you make it so tricky for BDD to move into the fog of war, which has been his way of getting advantages for his team in the early levels in both previous games.
Oh, Teddy looking for a solo here towards Jiwoo. Does get his health back with that spell shield. The exhaust comes down. And a couple of buttons do go wide. Oh, there's that rotund hitbox you were talking about, as Roma is going to not quite find the damage to take down effort. But now Cuzz, he's on these grubs, and it's just going to get pushed away. Lit on fire here by the spider. Flashes in, gets the cocoon though, and even 2 cyclones is not enough to keep Cuzz alive. And GIDEON not even going to go back towards the grubs as Teddy continues to find an advantage down here as the goalie wall, oh, not enough to get him out of that. Wind becomes lightning, and perfect will go down to Roma. This guy's LeBlanc is now on a killing spree, and the bros are just looking so good here in this third game.
6-stack Dark Seal already, 3-0 on the LeBlanc. Bro are in a phenomenal position and effort. Especially try to approach, pick up some chimes, but you don't want to be anywhere near this LeBlanc right now. We'll see the replay here. So, as you're saying, Bard, it's hard not to get hit by the cocoon. But he lives. You see the double shrine thrown down to keep himself alive, but that leaves the Mice Blade here. And Namgung actually ignites here to keep the vision when Cuzz walks into the brush. Really smart, really intelligent move, just to make sure they had eyes on him. And no chance of a turnaround play there when he has his ult. And here, GIDEON, the W at the angle, where it hits him regardless. He flashed that way, didn't flash to the side. And the end play is just huge for Bro on the back of this. The fact that effort survived is such a small silver lining for KT, but it shows that it could have been a lot worse if there was just a little bit more damage.
Well, the bros are going to be able to get the most grubs, but Cuzz does come over to get one, as now Roma is going to chase after BDD once again. Namgung once again in the mid lane. Just looking to put on that extra pressure, and BDD Zoe really not able to find its footing here in this game. It's Sork Boots as well for Roma, and the Merc Treads here for BDD. Just, you can understand the back foot the KT feel like they're on right now, and needing to avoid just getting chain CC'd to death, I think is such a big deal. These Merc Treads are going to be so necessary. But it does mean that BDD will not have the same level of burst damage that Roma will have.
And especially, they've changed the weighting of these 2 items in the most recent patch, where they took magic resist off Merc Treads, they took 5 away from it, and they gave 2 extra magic pen to the Sork Shoes. So this is a different feel to how it would have been last patch, where it would have just been the Merc Treads magic resist completely eclipse how much pen the Sork Shoes has, and you have extra. I mean, the magic shield's still very powerful against LeBlanc, but oh my lord.
That double distortion was just beautiful there from Roma. He really knows how to play this matchup. It is working very, very well so far. as we haven't really had a look at Perfect versus Casting very much this game.
But Casting doing a pretty good job so far with the early lead. We've seen some players have been able to leverage the pressure that Jayce has on the early levels and put the Yorick down. Some players have really fallen over in the early levels even against the Yorick. But eventually the Maiden does make it tricky.
Well, speaking of the Maiden, she is going to be summoned now as Casting. We'll just have to get to work with his hammer to take this one down. GIDEON going to grab this Mountain Drake. Next one going to be a Chemtech. As the Bros have almost a 2,000 gold lead at this stage of the game.
And it's spread out across like multiple members. It's not just one person who's strong who could be shut down. A lot of the team are fed right now.
Yep.
And it was just, as well, that trade in the top lane, Casting, getting the Storm Raiders and disengaging now. We do have Cuzz making his way in here.
Yep, Teddy going to get slowed down, and there is Cuzz just pouncing out of the brush. Teddy gets the barrier, flashes over the wall, GIDEON comes in, and oh no, Cuzz gets pushed back with that Crescent Guard. The Tempered Fate is going to be there to try and keep Effort alive for a little longer, but GIDEON will be able to find that kill, and now Roma is going to put the hurt down onto KT. Still Jiwoo is alive, and the bubble is going to stop the LeBlanc, but the Jayce is there with the Shock Blast, and down goes the Sivir regardless. The bottom lane is taken down here. Bros do lose Teddy, but I think they're okay with it.
A lot committed here from Bro to answer this play. Is going to allow Perfect to get some damage onto this tower here, but I still think Bro just not allowing KT to get away scot-free with trying to take out Teddy.
Nicely played. Let's have a look at this one more time. It was a good chase down, and Teddy just barely surviving and getting over this wall, demanding so much extra attention here from KT.
You see the decision making, and then he finally gets the flash off, gets in the right position for it. Cuzz has to flash to finish him off. A lot of stalling with the stasis, but they see the TP coming in, and Roma with the roam. Close there. If the chain connects, I think they might have just potentially both died, but Jiwoo no way to really get away from the situation. The Shock Blast comes in true. Makes it very clear that they really needed Casting as well. Getting that final hit there, and now has a pretty sizable lead over Perfect in this top lane matchup. And between the Storm Raiders and the Ghostblade, a lot of mobility to kind of outplay the Yorick, who's a bit of a slow marching champion.
Yeah, not to mention if Cuzz tries to come up and punish the Jayce as well, he can really utilize a combination of Keystone and Item in order to get himself away. So really nicely done. Good decision making here, but obviously it was largely what he was going to be building anyway. Going to be now heading towards that Manamune. Perfect now parking himself in this bottom lane. There is a Roma in the brush. But he's looking to be marching back towards the mid lane as Jiwoo and Teddy meet once again in this top side. 3 plates left on the top lane outer turret for the Bros, but 1 more for Jiwoo to get. And he will be able to take down that turret. First turret blood still up and available.
Not doing that much damage to Perfect right now with those Shock Blasts.
Not so much.
But not really the main concern at this time.
This Yorick is pretty strong.
30 seconds on that Herald, and space control, so important for both of these compositions when you're into a Zoe, when you're into a LeBlanc. Being able to see where the skill shots or the champion is flying from makes all the difference. It's been a while since we've had like an actual LeBlanc meta in the LCK, but we all remember the times of just a support face checking and just getting obliterated from the Fog of War.
And I think that it's not even necessarily just supports. I think anyone face-checking is just going to have to either go back via the Death Chamber or not. Roma is very, very strong right now with his upgraded shoes as well as his Ludens. And BDD does have the Ludens completed as well, but it just feels like Roma has hit his stride. Extra level on that Mimic as well as now Effort and Cuzz looking for a bit of a dive potential, but Namgung is here. And you've got GIDEON moving down as well. The Maiden is likely to die as Casting should be able to grab this kill. 1 more auto, and she will be taken out. And there it is, 50 gold over to the Jayce.
Just a great reaction from GIDEON, and I'm going to move down here to cover that top laner, make sure the play can't happen. You know, obviously Herald's on the map. That you would expect to be the focal point right now, but Bro don't want to leave out Casting to dry. And now, PP coming in. I think they see Cuzz.
Yeah, Cuzz was not wanting to push his luck there. Is just going to back away as Roma is going to move over, pop some Crystalline Overgrowth, does manage to do that, and goes back to his Distortion. So a bit of extra money with that plate going on over. Now the Bros looking for an angle here towards the Rift Herald. Casting, realizing that Perfect may not be alone, is just going to back away instead of looking for more of a fight here as Cuzz wants to be able to help out to grab this kill on the Jayce. Acceleration Gate though, as well as that Ghostblade giving him that extra space before, will mean that the Bros will be able to take this Rift Herald in trade for likely this bottom outer turret, because Cuzz and Perfect do a lot of damage to it. Teddy up here in this top lane, I don't think he's going to be able to win this race. So that is going to be some extra money in the coffers of KT, but immediately answered here by the Bros, and they do not lose their top laner.
I think Casting did a good job of respecting it this time when he doesn't have the support of his team. It is just a trade in the end, but Bros still have that Herald in pocket. KT would love to answer with the Dragon, but I'm not sure they're going to have a window to do so. Namgung already here trying to contest his vision. And it looks like they'll be forced away. Perfect resetting, likely to have that Trinity Force available to buy.
Oh, Trouble Bubble does come down onto Gideon. Effort finds the Cosmic Binding, is now Jiwoo with on the hunt. Working out for him, Gideon trying to escape, realizes he won't be able to do so. When becomes lightning, Effort almost dies, but does manage to survive it, and they take down the jungler right as this dragon spawns. Roma possibly going to get engaged on here as the chains do connect, and now Jiwoo is in trouble. They just jump right on top of him, and down he goes. Was that an electrocute? I'm pretty sure it might have been. As man, a 1-for-1, and Jiwoo just wasn't allowed to be in that spot.
Yeah, just kind of confusing from just to walk up like that. Especially didn't have the support of his team. You know, Cuzz went for the poke, he's a Wukong, can kind of do that. But Jiwoo just disrespecting the threat from Bro. And what went from like a favorable position, with Gideon being dead, KT could potentially set up for control of mid and go to Dragon, now just kind of thrown in the bin. Effort gets chunked out a little bit, will answer with his own damage, but won't be able to push deeper to get the vision down here.
Well, Jiwoo does at least have Navori now completed, so a couple of items picked up for the Sivir. It's going to be valuable, but I imagine that Teddy is getting very, very close to that Muramana. You can see that tier only a few stacks away from maxed out, and he's going to be very, very strong. Still, the Bros just feeling like they have a positional advantage around this dragon. Gideon already starting that one up, casting here towards the bottom side.
So
Perfect
scary.
in the maiden, making their way over.
So scary, so difficult face check to get the bot tower, to get the dragon.
Like, look at all these wards, man. They know everything.
Yep. So this was an overstay from Gideon on the top side of the map. We already saw like Namgung reset, went to the bot side. Just a bit too much time spent there. It's a decent punish from KT. You see Gideon realizes he can't get out and does a lot of damage to Effort, all things considered.
Yeah.
But this one, Jiwoo was already chunked by the true shot and still walked around this way.
Yeah, that was a crazy choice.
The Hextech Alternator was some of the damage there, because I think the Spell Shield stopped Distortion and the Hextech Alternator helped to...
That makes sense. It was something that was a bit delayed.
Yeah. And then I think maybe had Scorch as well proccing, so...
Oh my god, Romer is almost up to Shadow Flame.
He's going to be so fit. He's 9 stacks on the Dark Seal as well, so he could just grab Shadow Flame, Medjai's, and be on like the pseudo 3-item spike that feels so insanely strong.
Like, if he gets any sort of assist or anything like that, gets up to that 10 stacks, all that movement speed as well is just going to be so dangerous. Let's have a look at this little scuffle that just happened in the mid lane as Jiwoo is just dead again. That's what happened.
Jiwoo had such a strong start to the series, but really struggling in this game. You know, Sivir has a spell shield, a lot of value here, but the short range proving to be troublesome. And Bro just getting more and more pressure. 2 dragons in pocket.
And a 60 CS lead for Teddy. Like,
yeah.
Sivir is known, like, this was the matchup that Teddy got the most CS in the world on.
Yep.
And he was the Sivir.
And the thing is, we've always talked about the Sivir 400 CS win streak, but this game is not... It's not one where there's just easy targets to hit. It's also not one where KT can easily engage. Like, who are you actually going to engage on and how? Because LeBlanc and Ezreal both very safe. Jayce can operate from a massive range. So, like, Bardo's very hard to land. There's Cuzz just going in with a Cyclone, but that's not super reliable. I don't think KT can just necessarily team fight their way out of this hole that they're in right now.
Yeah.
I think picks are really going to be the impactful thing. But so far, Bro haven't really fallen prey. Casting did a phenomenal job to avoid being pressured. Gun lands.
Unbelievable. Cocoon going to connect there. Still, Effort is going to get engaged on. Does have to flash to get himself out of the way as Gideon still has Crescent Guard. So he's not dying here, but he's at least taking some damage. And now on the hunt, on cooldown.
I think when his Xin Zhao is this strong, and he is really far ahead, second highest gold lead in the game, it means you can't even shred him when he doesn't use or doesn't have his ult. So, such a cause for concern. Herald going to be thrown down in the mid lane.
Zinna turret's going to take a whole chunk here from... Oh, never mind. Tempered Fate is going to come on through.
You know, I feel like people always forget about that interaction with the Bard and just throw it down, because you've seen that a lot in the LCK. I will admit, I also forgot about it in that moment.
Yes, so did I.
It happens to the best of us.
It does. I think maybe they thought that Effort was just hanging out with Boris for a little bit longer. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one.
It does just negate that bit of pressure, though, which is nice. And we didn't talk about it before, but it is an Ocean Soul. Not the highest prio in this game, really. But it does mean that when you go in for these sort of poke wars, these attrition wars, you have such a massive advantage. Because if you trade blows, you come out with the extra health to sustain from it. And the mana, I think the thing that people don't talk about with Ocean Soul, it's a minor factor of it. It doesn't help you necessarily that much in teamfights, but the infinite mana for champions like LeBlanc can be really nice.
And not to mention the fact that this is how the bros want to operate, and they're against a Zoe with Merc Treads, right? I don't think you're one-shotting anyone. And so if they go in for this poke combo to try and make something happen, it's not really going to work. And I think the KT, they do want to be playing around Sivir, right? Ricochets, things like this. It's very consistent damage. But the way that the bros have been playing so far is they haven't really allowed that to happen. It's sort of duck and weave style League of Legends. Get in, get out. And that really suits that Ocean Soul that you were talking about. If there's ever a time for that to find the value, it is right now. Perfect, trying to get big here in this game on this Yorick. Does have his Sojourns completed, as well as his Trinity Force.
So I think this is the right move from KT to approach from the bot lane, but it does kind of show the state of things right now. Complete control for Bro on the mid lane, complete priority. Approaching from the center of the map is so difficult, and it means that you're kind of in this awkward spot for KT. You see a bit of poke coming down. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about, where if you have Ocean Soul, Roma just heals back all the health he burnt there, and it's just damage on Jiwoo. And Dragon up in 20 seconds.
Oh, beach ball.
Close.
Yeah, just barely goes wide as Perfect is able to secure the Raptor camp. That's a little bit cute. Cuzz on his red buff, they will be able to secure that. And BDD has a smite that he's collected from the ground. That's a pretty cute one.
Ocean Rift as well, there's more brushes. And they do have some good wards down here, but this one's going to get cleared out. They're going to try and rush their way in here. Roma's off to the side, though. Look at him.
Yeah, Jiwoo is not really allowed to be here as the chains are going to connect. That is going to be the Drake going on over. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does connect onto Teddy, but he is so far from danger. Gideon goes in. Crescent Guard is there as Effort will be wiped out. Tempered Fate from the grave just doesn't really do anything. And now Jiwoo, I think he's going to have to use that extra movement speed to get the heck out of here. Paddle Star goes wide. The pros use their mobility to just avoid KT.
Good dodge from Namgung. I think a level 7 Elise, if you get hit by that paddle star, I think you just die, to be honest. So some nice dodging there to disengage. Bro get the dragon. They get a pick as well. Everything they needed from that play. And they don't overforce their hand. No need to. You already tick the boxes. Roma's position here on the flank with the control ward is so hard to deal with. And then this cocoon from Namgung. The Bard hitbox working against Effort, and even though the ult slows down Bro, it just means Bro can just go back to poking from a distance.
Yep, and we all know Slow Bro is pretty powerful,
Very true.
Has some great stats, especially for a Gen 1 Pokemon. So even if they do Slow Bro, they will potentially still be the kings. There's another reference. Anyway,
that's
Perfect.
Evolution.
Yeah, and it doesn't have Bro in the name, so that's why I was like, well, it's not all that relevant, is it? So I'll work on it, try and figure out some Pokemon references to make.
I'm sure you have so many.
Yeah, and that was just, that one didn't work even a little bit.
I got what you're going for. I thought it was...
Yeah, there was a theory there, but I just didn't quite hit it,
Yeah.
Kind of like KT with this composition here in this game. There is a theory there, I'm pretty sure. But it did not quite work out. This is one of the issues, right, of Zoe. I feel like you really do need to craft a composition around her. And the Wukong Sivir not really fitting that bill. I think I really do like having a strong 4-1 with a Zoe composition. So the Yorick works. Outside of that, doesn't quite. Great sidestep there from Gideon. Just wanders out of the way of that Tempered Fate. And casting now has a Serylda's 3 items on this Jayce.
Roma didn't opt to go for the Magi's, which...
Oh, a little bit sad.
I think yet, is what I'm going to say, actually. Still doing a ton of damage.
I think once he hits the 10-stack Dark Seal, there's no way he doesn't upgrade it, right? No way.
You could upgrade it now and just stack it sooner. But I think... this. Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Effort is going to find him. Cuzz was thinking about going over that wall, decides against it.
This is the thing with LeBlanc, is just, what is the answer? When you can just especially with a composition like this, there's no Nautilus who can ult a LeBlanc and then she's guaranteed knocked up. A Bard is so rarely going to be able to stun a LeBlanc. And a Wukong, you Cyclone and you just recast Distortion and you end up looking silly.
I feel like the Xin Zhao value is just so high as well as Roma goes in once again. Absolutely, this poke assassin as Trouble Bubble does connect onto the jungle and Namgung looking for an angle, doesn't find the cocoon onto BDD as Roma still looking for more. With this Distortion, he can just be everywhere and nowhere all at once as Cuzz gets engaged on. The Cyclone has to be invested as Namgung puts him in the cocoon. Tempered Fate is going to come down, but it's too late to save the jungler. And now Teddy, yeah, sort of trapped against a beach ball in a hard place, but he just arcane shifts over the wall. And the Bros think this is a time to spend a moment with Terry and look to take him down.
Still looking for poke on the side, though. Bro, not wanting Perfect just to walk in here and stop them. Oh my god, that
Very
damage.
almost dead. Yeah, he almost does get taken out here. Terry still taking damage. Roma wanting to get these pokes down, and BDD and Effort, you just cannot be here. Roma will just kill you. Cocoon barely going to go wide. The chains also do not hit the mark as the Bros back away from the... Never mind, they don't back away from the Baron. Gideon was still there. Felt like there were so many that had left the pit. Surely they'd given up on it, but nope. Gideon sticks around and they guarantee this Baron. And the Bros, I feel like they've played so many different styles of League of Legends this series. The first one didn't work, but these last two have just been beautiful.
And this sort of comp has a lot of finesse to it. It's not the easiest to play. It's not super straightforward. The way they approach this, the setup they have around this Baron, at no point do they overcommit. At no point do they force too hard. It's a matter of finding Cuzz. And as soon as you get a jungler, it makes everything easier because you know there's no smite. And then the rest of them just continuously get poked down, but never step too far. They know there's no immediate threat onto them. With the Wukong down, the engage isn't there. It's only a Sleepy Trouble Bubble that connects. Would be a problem, but they just keep dodging away. And now, Dragon spawning at 15 would be that Ocean Soul. Gideon has GA and is feeling himself.
Yeah, he is just going to dash into 3 people. Magical Journey gets Jiwoo, Cuzz, and Effort all out of there. Or does it? Oh, Cocoon just barely going to go wide. But the Bros, they've pushed them all the way away from this Dragon Pit. They should be able to guarantee themselves an Ocean Soul. And I don't know how the Bros lose from here with the style that they've been playing, as there is another Mimic Distortion. If that chain had landed, I think BDD just pops like a balloon.
For sure. And also the Banshee's picked up by Roma, so just no recourse. When you go in like that, you land a Sleepy Trouble Bubble, it just breaks the spell shield. They don't want to have to go for a full actual 5v5. It's just this poking and prodding that they're doing so well. They're moving now towards the Dragon. Ocean Soul will just make things even more difficult.
And Roma should be putting his Magi's together immediately after this Drake goes down. Teddy going to help Gideon out here momentarily, and Casting going to come on over as well, do his shift, as that is just a free Ocean Soul over to the Bros. No way that KT could contest it.
And it's kind of rare that we see picks like Nico or the Elise go Mikhail's, but I think it's such a good buy here, because this has been the one ability that Pro have been dodging extremely well, but is an actual cause for concern, is that Zoe sleep. And now it's just going to be so much less of a factor. In fact, with the Mikhail's, you can't even be caught out by it yourself, because you just self-Mikhail's before the sleep actually comes in.
Yeah, it's one of the easier abilities to keep track of with the Mikhail's as well.
Don't even need to be Captain Jack.
Nope.
You could just be like Private James.
Yeah, Private James would actually be fine at it. Major Max, not so much. He still struggles. All right. Jiwoo and Effort trying to defend here, and at least Sivir is pretty good at dealing with Baron minions, but not as good at dealing with all of this, as he's trying to play some DDR, but misses out on that last one as the Shock Blast just halves his health bar. The True Shot Barrage would have done the other half, so pretty happy for him that he keeps himself alive here, as Roma is splitting on that bottom side. Perfect trying to deal with him for the moment. This war of attrition is being won by the Bros. And this Ocean Soul, I don't even know whether it's necessary, but it is making things real annoying for KT.
Just means like the Sivir Ricochet cannot whittle them down and eventually get them to the point where you can force a fight. They just keep sustaining up on every single wave. The health bars feeling fresh, and KT, it's not even Baron minions. They just can't even contest with the pressure from a regular minion siege with this Sivir. They pop the ult and look for a
Tempered
play.
Fate, Teddy's moving forward. Jiwoo is in so much trouble. True Shot Barrage is going to chase after him, but not enough to kill him. On the hunt, enough movement speed to avoid it, but now Roma, he smells blood. And he is going to dash in, goes back to his original distortion here, and gets themselves out.
A desperation play, because KT are so frustrated with what is happening in this game, they can't even fight. And not from the perspective of they can't fight because they'd lose. They don't even get a chance to lose a fight.
Oh, no.
They're just getting harassed down. They try and go for a pick on a Teddy, and it just ends up flopping because it's an Ezreal.
Yeah.
And he still had his flash on top of that. So just completely safe in the play.
Namgung already getting some Mikhail's value as well. You can see that's on cooldown.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, mid inhibitor. It fell. They did manage to keep their top inhibitor turret alive. Bottom lane down to a couple of plates remaining. Jackshow's done here for perfect. That's item number 3. But, I mean, you look at the other side of the rift, and Teddy is sitting on like a luxury BF sword as well as 4 items already done.
Yeah.
He's about to hit a Flame Horizon against Jiwoo, which I think is likely not going to happen because now Sivir just like starts hitting these super minion waves.
It's still crazy how much farm he has.
Yeah, ahead of the clock by like 5 minutes here as well. Like, it's crazy.
Ezreal doesn't soak up farm nearly as easily as picks like Sivir, so he's been doing some big work there. GIDEON is also 70 CS up in the jungle. Casting also just finished his Cyclo Sword. They are so strong right now.
Yeah. This is pretty ridiculous. 11,000 gold. They could just bring their wallets down on top of KT, and I think that we would be going to a game number 4 with a bro match point, as even the Maiden just getting taken out, not able to run.
Run!
She won't get up. There's the audacious charge. Shock Blast just hits a corpse. Perfect. Not going to have access to that ultimate for the next little while.
Oh,
there is the Forbidden Book.
Finally. Not much time left to stack it, but we'll take it.
Yep.
Big influx of AP.
20 seconds until this Baron. Might be where he can get a couple of extra pages for it.
I mean, once you get the Baron, we saw already how difficult it was to deal with bros sieging their push, their poke, with just normal minion waves. You add the Baron to the equation, and I don't see KT being able to hang on. Definitely not able to get any vision towards the Elder that's spawning in a couple of minutes. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do here? How are you supposed to even get close? And look at the 3 members, Roma, Namgung, and Teddy, just like hovering around the jungle under very little threat, but so much danger to anyone who steps forward. And the answer is, you're not going to contest it. So Baron's now secured for Bro. And once the siege begins, how are you supposed to approach that Elder Dragon that spawns in a minute and a half?
Run. I think you have to run.
Yeah, I think so.
BDD does have a pretty cool hat. Zoe is starting to do some damage.
Yeah, BDD's had so many phenomenal games on the Zoe, but I think Bro have respected it so much. The Sleepy Trouble Bubbles have not been able to connect. Oh, the True Shot might hit!
Oh, BDD gets wiped out! Oh no, that should guarantee an Elder release, but maybe the Bros just go for the win. They've got Baron, and they're just so much stronger. It is a 13,000 gold lead. And Roma is going to look to sink in the knife. Perfect already taken down to 50%. KT desperately trying to hold on to their Nexus turrets. Coolywall goes down. Effort is basically dead, having to magically journey through his Nexus. As the Bros continue here, and they outrange them. They can layer so much poke in. Every one of these shock blasts is so deadly. True Shot Barrage comes over yet again as Roma has to flash away because he's already dead. Roma goes back in as he finds the chains, and Teddy is arcane shifting forward. Down goes the bottom lane. Perfect is on the fountain, just waiting for game number 4 as the Bros crush KT here in the 3rd.
What a game here by Roma on the LeBlanc, just decimating the Zoe of BDD, that legendary pick we've seen succeed so many times before.